All right, welcome to Office Hours, Brandon
Awesome.
and Ashley. We're now live. Um, yeah, so anyone who you pop in here, feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to, if you've got a question about social media, something you want Ashley or myself to answer for you, we have got you covered. But of course, um, Ashley, let's start. How are you been? How are you been? How are you doing this
Oh,
week?
I'm good. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah,
Surviving?
today's what, Thursday? Okay, good. Thursday. I have the
Yeah.
right day. That's all I care about. But we've had some really exciting social media updates this week. You've seen any of the latest news?
I've seen a couple of things that I think we should talk about.
Okay, what's
Um,
your first? Because I've got
well,
a lot.
the first thing that stood out, and I covered this in the huddle, which went out on Tuesday. For anyone who is not currently subscribed to the huddle, um, go to our website. You can subscribe to the huddle.
Mhm.
One of the big things is Instagram. Now, Instagram's been testing out these profile cards for some time now. Now, in the past and for a long time, Instagram has utilized QR codes in order to kind of like quickly follow people. That if you're with someone and they go, "Hey, what's your Instagram?" Instead of trying to walk them through typing out your Instagram handle and the intricacies of what that can include, they have where you can just simply tap share profile or go to your QR code, and they can just scan your QR code, and then like essentially just takes them right to your account and then follows you. Um, and Instagram has been testing out a new version of this called the profile card. And the profile card is essentially the same thing, but there's a little bit more kind of like flavor to it now. So instead of it just being a QR code, when you tap share profile, it takes them to now a card with your photo, your bio, your links. And then if you tap it, the card, it flips. And on the backside is your QR code. And what's really cool about it is that it has a lot of customization to it. So you can customize the design, so you can customize the colors. You can even include like a picture background. So
Mhm.
for me, because the NBA season started, I just added the Warriors logo as my background for my QR code.
Nice. Love
So
it.
and then but on the front side, what I love about this is that it also includes your links. So, uh, in the past, it was just that QR code, but now, especially if you have a link tree, you can very easily just kind of get someone to go to that page, and you can send them you can copy the link to this card. You can do all sorts of stuff with it, and it
Yeah.
just makes it so that like all of your information is right there. It's essentially a business card now on Instagram.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm like, that's really to me, I think at conferences or places where you are out in public and you're wanting to meet people, already it's a lot more, I think effective sometimes to follow someone on social media rather than give them a business card. Sometimes it depends, right? There's that specific instance where you're like, "Hey, send me an email, let's continue this conversation." But if you're just meeting someone, giving them the business card almost feels too intrusive. It's a little like, "Oh, I don't wanna overpromise." But that social media link is perfect because it's, "Hey, quick, like, let's connect, just follow me." And then that's where you can kind of build that engagement and have a few extra touch points before you really reach out, and it feels like you're genuinely engaging with someone rather than just going for a quick sale.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking through this, and this is something that I wrote about um in my my portion of the huddle, which is that and you kind of mentioned this, that there are opportunities where it makes more sense to connect with someone with your social than with a business card. In my mind, when I go to a conference and I get business cards, I get, I don't know, 25, 30, 40, 50 business
Mhm.
cards, and I'm walking around with my tote, and they just kind of go in the tote.
Right.
And how often are you going back through the tote to pull out all the business cards to then
Mhm.
add them into your phone?
And how are you connecting that business card with the conversation you had? Like every once in a while, someone's memorable enough that you're like, oh, yeah, 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 I remember talking to this person. But most of the time, if you have 30 business cards, you remember maybe two people. Whereas if you're following on social media, you go through their videos, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I recognize this person.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't know they liked this. That's cool. It just gives you more context. And I think it's also a longer term, getting a follow from somebody is going to be a longer term
Yeah,
So
I think you cut out for a second, but yeah,
sorry about
the the you cut out, but I think what you're saying is that because you're following them, it's a longer term relationship that you're building rather than just like the instance with this card. And what I love is the fact that you can like that if you follow me based on this profile card,
that. Mhm.
now every time that my video pops up on your feed because you're now following me, that's a re-engagement with that person. And
Yep.
it's just so much more value. If you give me your business card, like, that's all I have of you. But if we are now, following each other on Instagram, there's now this kind of, like, back and forth that's happening. I can be commenting on things, you can be
Mhm.
commenting on things from me, and so, like you're saying, there's kind of this relationship that can kind of build over time, and, I mean, I have friends that I have met purely from just comments, that we've
Yep.
commented back and forth, which leads to DMs, and now we're swapping information and we're like planning
Mhm.
meetups. I've done a number of meetups with people purely from comments where
Right?
over
Which
time I've built a relationship to where we've met up, had drinks, whatever.
yeah.
So,
I think that's the way things are moving. It's so interesting because I grew up in the era of like the internet is scary, right? Like my parents were always like, "Don't talk to strangers on the internet. They could be trying to kidnap you," like that kind of mentality. And it's interesting to see that that's shifted. Not only just like, oh, strangers on the internet aren't as scary because everyone's on the internet, but also we're a lot more casual in the way that we interact with people, and giving them that insight and doing that casual engagement can actually seem a lot more authentic in the long run than going straight in for things. Even I see this in dating all the time. Like when people meet, like it's not a can I get your number? Because that feels like I don't know, it feels too strong sometimes. It's a hey, why
mhm,
don't we swap Instagrams? And then you can kind of do some light stalking, see if you vibe, and then go from there. But it's just interesting. So like I think that feeling translates to business nowadays. No one wants to hard commit because they like to just see what they're getting into before they jump into a one-on-one email with somebody, like you said, only seeing the one snippet that they got at the conference. Whereas when you can say, oh, let me check out your business page, let me check out your content, oh, I'm seeing all the videos you're posting, oh, that does sound kind of cool, okay, now let me reach out to you, and now that I have a bit better of an idea, yeah, I'm warmed up, let's do it. And I think you're going to get warmer leads from that in a lot of
mhm.
ways because they'll weed themselves out if they're not interested, and then you're not wasting your time instead of chasing them down just to get them in a meeting just to realize, oh, this isn't actually the right fit.
Exactly. And the best thing about these Instagram profile cards is that they literally take about 5 minutes max to handle. Like,
So easy.
they're already pre-made because it's doing is just pulling the information from your Instagram account that you
Mhm.
already have. So if you've already taken our advice that we've given, if you've already optimized your Instagram bio according to what we talk about all the time,
Yep.
then your profile card's already done. Like, you
Yeah.
just need to hit share profile, and then
Boop,
all you're changing is just yeah, like, you can
there.
see, you tap it right there, and
It'll say
then
share profile, and then yours is better than mine because I haven't fully customized mine, but, like, it looks like that. Like, I didn't
right.
even do anything, and this is just what it looks like. It looks great. Feel free to follow me. Ashley the SMM, everybody.
Yeah, and so if you want someone to
Got
follow you,
it.
all you have to do is tap, boom, there's your QR code, and then if you want someone, "Hey, here's my links," you can tap it, and you have your links on the front, like, it's such a great piece
It's
that
perfect.
does exactly what we talk about all the time, which is using your social media account to connect
Mhm.
with people, and you don't have to be resorting to business cards all the time,
Right,
like
and if this we're technologically challenged, right? I also like that they added these buttons down here. Hopefully, you can see this a little bit. But you can share it, text it to somebody. You can copy the link at any point, email it, text it. You can also download this. So if you're someone who's like, every time I open Instagram, I hit the wrong button and I can't figure out where I'm going, I would just download this and keep it in your photos. And you can even save it to a photo album. Like I have a photo album that called like important, and I just save things that I access all the time in there, like I don't know, like your health cards for stuff when you go to the
sure.
dentist and you're like, I need your thing, and you pull it up and you go here. That's exactly where you can save this. So then at conferences, if you're worried about navigating this, which it's right on the profile, it's just share profile. But if you can't find it, that's what I would do. Just save it. And then you can pull it up anytime and you have that QR code ready to go.
Yeah, it's such a great new tool. So yeah, if anyone, just go in there, access it, and start using that at conferences. I think that you're going to see your follower base is going to grow because you're going to be connecting with people on Instagram, and you're going to be getting followers that are like interested in the same thing, like they're interested in the type of content you're creating. But also, it's just it. I think psychologically it kind of helps you to more ingrain social media into your marketing stack, into what you're trying to do
Mhm.
on your end in terms of your marketing. So I think that's a great way to go about doing it. We also
And
had some more. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, and a last point too, you can actually use this in email blasts. I feel like this is another great way where we're in the mortgage industry, right? So loan officers, you have all these former clients that you've connected with, and you're trying to hit back through emails, you're trying to look at for refinancing, all of that. But a lot of the time, are you really following everyone on social and are they all following you? Because if you're, focusing on your content, putting all this information out, but you have 50, 100 clients who aren't following you and aren't getting this information, 50, 100 refis potentially in the
Hmm.
future. So what I would do is take this QR code, put it in an email, blast it out to your email list and say, hey, just in case, I like sharing homeowner tips and everything on my socials. You can also reach me if you don't feel like emailing. Just here's that info in case you want it. A, that's going to get you a bunch of followers. B, then you know that your past clients are seeing your content. And it's just another way to expand those circles and keep people seeing you consistently without feeling like you're constantly having to spam people with emails or put out a newsletter. If you're staying present on social media, then you're staying top of mind. So you just want to make sure that your whole email list is following you there.
Yeah.
So,
Why don't you talk a little bit more about keeping it on Instagram?
oh yeah,
We saw
okay.
some information this week about watermarks. Why don't you talk about that for a little bit?
Yes. So this was really interesting because it was from Adam Mosseri. He's the leader of Instagram. I don't know what his official title is, but like he's the Instagram guy. And he finally confirmed for us what something that marketers have guessed for a long time, which is that they actively suppress videos that have a watermark on them, specifically, especially if it's a watermark from, say, like TikTok or CapCut or another editing platform, because a lot of these platforms want to keep the editing in house, right? So I've had my suspicions that not just watermarking, but like CapCut templates, the meme templates where it's kind of cut out and then you put a different background on there.
Hmm.
I feel like that also kind of operates under the same principles. I think both of watermark-esque, but also it's repetitive content. So if you're
It,
sharing the same
yeah,
meme template that everyone else is, especially if it doesn't have a big differentiator, like a big block of text on it, it's not gonna do as well unless it really, really, really hits with the audience and people are sharing it like crazy. I think that'll get you out of that rut.
it
But
totally does. The CapCut thing. So I've experimented with this,
mhm,
and granted, I experimented with this at a weird time for TikTok. So there was about a week long period where TikTok was just striking every video that anyone posted for
yes,
originality. I don't know if you remember that. This was
I
like about
do.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
And around that same time, I was kind of like playing around with CapCut. I was using CapCut to edit my videos for both Instagram and TikTok. Um, I don't do that anymore for a number of obvious reasons. Um, but I was using CapCut and I started using some of those like green screen meme formats. And every time I posted one, I would get copyright struck. But if I appealed those, they would get rejected for the appeal.
Interesting.
The other ones would all pass the appeal, but not the CapCut green screen videos.
Hmm.
Now, there are people out there who post the green screen videos and they do great.
Yeah,
And you see them on your profile, all you see them on your feed page all the time. But I just don't think that they are worth it. And
I
it's for this
agree.
exact reason.
I think it's one of those things where you don't ever wanna get reliant on one type of content in particular, but especially that type of content. I think
Mhm,
it's so easy that a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, then I don't have to record anything, and it's just a meme, and I just throw it up on my feed, and it's funny, and people like it." Okay, but to me, I'm like, what if you could just take a little extra time and do a B-roll version of that? And so B-roll, right, is when you record yourself doing something, but you're not talking at the camera. So
mhm,
if you can kind of reenact, I mean, nothing's gonna hit the same way that like a clip from The Office hits, right? But if you're able to capture the same kind of emotion or be doing something in the background and put the same text over top, that's gonna do much better. And especially as loan officers, it's gonna serve your purposes way more because a
mhm.
faceless meme going viral, okay, it's a meme, but no one is going to attribute that to you being funny, to your business, to why they should work with you. None of that's going to really matter. It's just going to be like, oh, I saw this funny meme. That's it. Whereas if you're in the video and you put the funny text on it and it's very much clearly original, that's where people are going to be like, oh my gosh, Brandon is so funny. I see his videos all the time. He always has these clever little skits. Like, that's the best. I'm going to share them with people. And next time I need a loan officer, like, Brandon's the guy. That's what you want people thinking. So that's where the CapCut thing I definitely would move away from. But especially for those who are sharing content on multiple platforms like TikTok and then taking it over to Instagram, be really careful not to share the version that has the watermark on it. Because what TikTok will do is when you post it, it automatically saves the video to your camera roll, but it has that watermark. So what I
Hmm.
do is I make sure that I share it before it's like the screen before you do the captions and all of that. I download the video that's edited, but I download it then so that I have the blank file of it. Then I post it on TikTok. I usually post on TikTok first because they like the original content the most. And then I bring it over to LinkedIn, to Instagram, whatever, but I'm using the one that is not watermarked. And I think that's something. And if you're a SocialCoach user, which hopefully some people watching this are, we do all that for you, right? Our automatic scheduler sends everything out at the same time. So you don't have to worry about that. There's never going to be watermarks on it because you're pushing it out all at the same time through our professional editing system that doesn't deal with watermarks. So that's always a great way
Hmm.
to avoid that as well.
It's one of like 100 great benefits of using Video Catalyst is that you don't have to worry about all the watermark stuff. I mean, because even my TikTok, I've told you this, for
Hmm.
some reason, my version of TikTok on my phone does not have the save feature.
I know. That is the weirdest thing to me. I
And
still
I've
feel like
updated it, I've deleted the app, I've re-downloaded it. Now the TikTok Studio app, I'm able to
mm,
download them. So I've kind of been playing more in TikTok Studio and then downloading it
which
and
is
then
probably what they want.
sharing it. I think that that's what they're wanting.
It's
Because I
interesting to see the features that they push out to try to encourage specific user behavior, and I think this is one of them. Like, what we're talking about, the watermark suppression, is because they don't want you using other editing tools, they want you doing it in TikTok, in Instagram. But I also think that they realize that that's not always entirely feasible, especially for small businesses, for large brands, for people who you can't just sit there and edit inside the app all day because you need to save time somehow,
Yeah,
and so
I think more than
they
anything, they are wanting if you're gonna film this in TikTok, we want you to post it to TikTok. Again,
yeah,
that's where Video Catalyst comes in, and it's like, because we're taking care of all of those things inside Video Catalyst, inside SocialCoach, you're not having to deal with the TikTok red tape to try and get you to post just to TikTok.
right.
It lets you post to all of them at the same time. So, yeah,
Mhm.
definitely like another one of the benefits. But that watermark thing, yeah, I love that every once in a while, like Mossray will just like finally tell us the truth about
Right.
Instagram.
Like, we've known this. We've seen the writing on the wall, but, like, finally he's like, "Yeah, okay, you got us. We have the
When
data."
he posted the video talking about it, I was like, no way is this the first time they've confirmed this. Like, no way. Like, we've
Same,
known
I
about
was
this
like,
for so
"Duh."
long.
It felt like a duh moment, but, I guess not.
It's like,
But I do wanna clarify too, that doesn't mean using third-party apps to edit and post your videos is not the problem. They're not clocking that.
right.
It's only if it has a visible watermark on the video, that's the issue. Because I know a lot of people have there's, like, a myth out there that if you use a third-party app to schedule your posts, that your content doesn't do as well. I was like, "No." That's the
Yeah.
same myth as, like, there's a best time to post, right? It's like, if
Hmm.
there was, every single brand under the sun would be posting at 4 p.m. on a Thursday because they would all know the best practices, and then it
Hmm.
wouldn't be the best time anymore. Same thing, all these massive like brands and creators and people absolutely are not sitting there scheduling their post every single day. They have tools to do that for them. So if that puts anyone's mind at ease, using the third party apps is not the problem. It's only if it's like watermarked or if it's repetitive content. There's a few things that I think the platforms have gotten better at flagging, but for the most part, for small creators, it shouldn't be a big problem. It's just don't do the watermark thing.
Yeah, every social media like professional social media manager is using some kind of third party scheduling tool.
Completely. There's
There's
no way to do
no
it
there's
otherwise.
no feasible way to just be like in the Instagram app every day and like, okay, it's 4 o'clock and now. All right.
Right.
And the next one
And then everything
is at
glitches. And
six
'cause
and now.
you have to
Like
post
it's
across platforms. Like, what are you gonna
yeah.
do?
And yeah,
I
it's like,
can't
okay, I'm
can
gonna
you
post on
imagine?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like everything at
Can you
one time.
I
It
would
just
need
doesn't
8 monitors. I'd be like, "Okay, ready, and go, 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 go," like, down the line, like, hitting post on everyone, and then you're bound to mess up. I
Yeah.
don't even wanna think about the typos and the thumbnails that might get missed, and oh my gosh, that would be
Yeah,
no.
it just doesn't work
Scheduling
like that.
tools are my saving grace, like, as a social media manager, like, even especially for teams, what I'll say, like, we have a team that we all post and do that, but, like, for the loan officers and the social media managers who work at mortgage companies where you have, like, 200 different individual accounts that you're managing, that is one of the things I love most about what we do is for the person who was me behind the scenes wishing that they had 8 monitors and 12 different versions of themselves, it makes it so easy to just automatically post to everyone's individual platform from one place. And it helps me not feel as scattered when I can look and be like, okay, I've set up my prompt. I know what it looks like. Now I'm just going to notify everybody to publish it, or I'm going to automatically just push it to go out. And then I know 200 different loan officers have posted the same thing or the randomized campaign. So it's not the same thing, whatever it is. I know it's all gone out, but I've only had to look at one screen for like 5 minutes. And that's all it takes. So
Yeah.
much better than trying to like, okay, for this branch and then for this branch, and then let me make sure I've checked everyone off my email list. Like it's just it's crazy. For anyone who gets into social media, especially loan officers doing social media, I feel like they start to feel not the pain, but like they start realizing there a lot more goes into it behind the scenes. And
Yeah.
it's a fun feeling, but then I'm always it's even more fun when then I'm like, actually, but social coach does this for you. So you don't have to be your own social media manager. That's our job and it's my job and I love it, but it can be chaotic. So I always appreciate that little dose of like, oh, social media is hard. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be. Here you go. Let me
Yeah.
make it easier for you.
Yeah, we make it as easy as possible.
It's always great.
All right, well, we got a few minutes here before we wrap up. We're coming up on Halloween. I'm just curious about,
Ooh.
what are your Halloween traditions?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like they've changed. I'm in that, you the pre-college experience was of course trick or treating, right? Getting
Mhm.
dressed up, hitting 3 different neighborhoods, taking my little sister with us and just trick or treat till we can't walk anymore. Now though, we've been trying to figure it out since college. I feel like college is a little different. And then post college, we do something different every year. My roommate loves Halloween, like loves Halloween. So we usually dress up and try to find some sort of activity to go do. Um, but yeah, it's pretty casual, and sadly, we get no trick-or-treaters. I mean, we're an apartment complex, so perhaps that's more expected, but everyone are nearby, like, we don't even have friends with houses that we can go be like, "Can we come to your place and watch people trick-or-treat?" Like, there's nothing. So, I don't
Mhm.
know, do you guys have traditions? Because for my age, I feel
Uh,
like I'm trying to figure it out.
well, we go trick or treating with our kids. We've got
Oh,
3 kids. So, this is Ezra, who's almost 2. This will be his first, like, walking around on trick or treating,
that's
and
so
it's, like,
cute.
all his favorite things: candy, saying hi to people,
Yes,
and, like, knocking on doors. He, like, loves
amazing.
that stuff.
You just have to remind him not to go inside. Those are my favorite videos of, like, the
Oh,
kids who
he
don't know.
always anytime a door's open, he wants to go through it.
Yeah.
So, which all of my kids are the same way. So, I go up to the doorstep and, like, make sure I'm holding one hand while he holds out his little pail with
There
the
you
other
go.
one. Yeah, so, like, we dress up. We try and do, like, a family costume. So, like, in the past, we've done, like, Monsters Inc. So when,
Oh,
Crosby was pregnant with our 2nd, she was Mike Wazowski. She had,
amazing.
like, the eye on her, like, on her stomach, and then I was Sully, and then our youngest was Boo.
That's so cute.
This year, our family Halloween costume is, E.T. So, my little boy, who's almost 2, we have an E.T. costume for him. My
Amazing.
oldest is going as Elliot, so she's got, like, a red, like, hoodie, and then, Harper, who everyone says that she looks like Drew Barrymore's character in E.T., is going as Drew Barrymore's character in E.T., and then we're wearing hazmat suits. Um,
Oh, love it.
'Cause
Perfect. That's
yeah.
okay. Are you gonna leave, like, little M&M trails wherever you go?
Reese's Pieces, yeah,
Oh,
we'll
yes,
probably do
sorry, that's
something
what
like
I meant.
that.
Wrong
Yeah,
brand.
fun
My
fact, M&M's was actually approached for that product
okay,
placement, and they
I think
declined.
that's why I said it because I know that fact as a marketer, and I'm like, they missed the bag
Yeah,
there, but okay, that's why I said the wrong
yeah,
thing. Reese's are
yeah,
superior in my mind, I love
yeah, Reese's Pieces, I think, are gross, though. I'm not a fan.
the pieces, sure, but the peanut butter cups,
Like, peanut butter cups are the elite Halloween candy.
they
That's
are.
why we are so adamant about our kids going trick or treating so that we can
There you go, so
get
you
a
can
bunch of Reese's. Yeah, and then the other big tradition around here is we just watch a ton of Halloween movies. like
Well,
tons and
that's you
tons.
gotta do it.
Yeah.
What's your top? Because 'Cause I'm not a scary movie person. We do,
Mhm.
like, Practical Magic and, Hocus Pocus, like, the fun ones, but
So, I mean, with kids, we've kind of got, like, some so we've got, like, the Halloween movies for the kids.
mhm.
Um, so we did, like, Hocus Pocus, of course.
Of course.
We do Monster House,
Oh, yes.
Paranorman, um,
Casper?
Wallace and
Casper
Gromit,
Cornelius?
Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Haven't done Casper yet.
Gotta get
I feel
Casper.
like my oldest would dig Casper. The other 2, like, not so much. But
Mm.
then when the kids go to bed, I've got my whole thing. So, like, I really, I have, like, a whole, like, Halloween, like, horror movie, like, watching thing that I do.
Mhm.
And I'm just wrapping that up this week so that I can have Halloween week to watch, like, the Halloween, like, style
Nice.
movies. So, like, Trick or Treat, Halloween 3, um, like,
Of course,
movies
you
that
have
take place
Scream.
on Halloween. Scream is like, yeah, my wife really loves Scream. I think Scream is, like,
I love
pretty
Scream.
good.
That's one of the few, like, I don't feel like it's scary, scary, but, like, classic that I'm like, "Oh, I could do this."
Yeah. So,
It's like
no, it's like, yeah. So that's kind of like our big, Halloween traditions right now. We're doing, like, around here, we have, like, this, like, Halloween town thing, which is
oh,
kinda like a pumpkin patch, kinda like a carnival, kinda like a thing. But then we
Halloween
also
Town.
have
That makes
yeah,
sense.
and then we also have a lot of, like, neighborhoods that go, like, really big around here
Oh,
that
that's
are, like,
always
destination neighborhoods, and it's, like, packed with people walking around, checking out people's decorations and all sorts of stuff, so that's kind of what we're
that's cool.
doing.
When I grow up, I wanna live on a street like that for Christmas, because Christmas is my holiday. It's like all the lights, looking pretty, just yeah, people coming and, like, you sit on your porch with the hot chocolate and, like, wave at people as they come drive by for the lights, like, I would
Yeah,
love that.
we've got one of those. One of the ones that does Halloween really big also does Christmas, and they, like, play,
Wow.
they have, like, a radio station that plays Christmas music, that as you, like, drive through the neighborhood, you can tune your radio to the Christmas music, and a lot of their lights are synced up to it.
Oh, that's cool. I
And it's,
see, this
like,
is a
4
new level of
streets that you just
communication.
kinda
There you go. I'm impressed that they do both, to be honest. I understand wanting to choose one or the other, because where do you
Mhm.
store all this stuff? Like, that's what I think. I'm like,
Yeah.
where do you put it all? But that's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, let's see, I think we've got, 1 more minute. Any, like, off the cuff social media tips you wanna any, like, last minute, like, tip or tactic you wanna throw out before we go?
oh, that's a good one. I think my advice right now is everyone's focused on Halloween, so I would be thinking about November for everyone who's looking at content and content planning, and maybe if you're not a social media manager, you're probably not in the brain to be like, "Oh, I should think this far ahead." But Veterans Day content is going to be huge. A lot of people are going to be talking about VA loans, so I would just think about how you wanna do that. Like, I think it's a great topic and it's perfect for the holiday, but if every single person posts a VA loan video on Veterans Day, how are you standing out? So I would either start gearing up for that now so that you're approaching it and you do either like a series or just think of a creative, fun angle you can use. Maybe there's some aspect of VA loans that no one ever knows about, and that's what I would talk about. So there's
I
my tip there.
like yeah, I like a series leading up to it, so it's not just, like, on the one day where you can kinda get
Right.
drowned out, you can kind of lead up to it.
Right, because it's on a Monday, so, like, the week before being like, "Hey, we're leading up to Veterans Day, so, like, here's a five-part series on, like, the 5 things you should know about VA loans," or whatever, and then making sure you're saying, like, "Hey, share this with someone you know who might be interested." That's just something I would be gearing up for, and, of course, any holidays that you wanna be posting about, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Dia de los Muertos is coming up, like, all of that stuff just I always like to remind people towards the end of the month, I'm like, think about next month because you'll be
Mhm.
happier. Like the people now who are like, "Oh, I should post something for Halloween, but I don't know what to post." Don't feel that next month. Do it now so that you've at least put it in your brain to be like, "What would be fun?" Because Halloween's
Yeah.
easy. You just post cute photos of kids or pets dressed up, and that's gonna get more likes than anything you could potentially plan ever.
Yeah. If I was to give a tip on the way out, it would be, 2 things. First, don't worry about posting on election day. Like, everyone's
Yeah.
gonna be posting a vote today post, and outside of that, I can't think of a good election day post to create that wouldn't get you in some kind of hot water. a very contentious
Yeah.
election this year, so just best to maybe just avoid that. Unless you're saying, "Hey, don't forget to vote," which,
Or like
uh,
the "I voted," like, that's always great.
that's
Yay.
about what I would say. Like,
Just
if you're
yeah,
gonna
quick
post
selfie.
anything, "I voted," thumbs up with your sticker, and move
Yeah,
on.
"I voted," drop an emoji if you submitted your ballot yet. That's it. That's all you
Yeah.
need. Yeah, because I know people have been talking about, like, the housing market and how the election might impact that, which is okay. I would just yeah, during election day, especially in kind of that week, I would maybe ease up on that. Like, it's gonna be a weird week for social media, and we are going into a season like November, December isn't the best for social media because it gets oversaturated, it gets overcrowded. You're getting people with all the Black Friday ads and holiday shopping, and you're getting Christmas and like all the seasonal content is coming into social media. So, A, don't panic if you're seeing your engagement start to decline starting now. It's gonna be a little rough till the end of the year. That's not a you problem. It's just something in the industry that like to be aware of. But yeah, with election stuff, I agree with you. Maybe just being a little more careful around that just 'cause it can be so contentious and
Mhm.
especially as someone you're representing a business, and that is something people can very much decide, "If I don't align with you, I'm not working with you." So maybe just don't I would just leave that.
Yeah.
Leave that as I voted. Everyone yay, good for you. Everyone should vote.
Everyone likes someone who voted,
That's it.
and then
That's
keep
all
it
you
at
need.
that.
Perfect.
So, anyway, all right, well, I think we can wrap up here. Ashley, thanks, for
Yeah,
joining for office hours. Thanks,
thank you.
everybody, and we will see you next time.
Sounds great. Bye.